Today we have this fabulous panelist to discuss about a partnership between universities and the industry. It is kind of eternal questions, and we have already some long history of collaboration because we know that's so important to have this collaboration between universities and industry, not only in terms of technology transfer, but exchanging ideas and doing something together to promote innovation, but not only innovation, but structure a new type of society and serving to address global and social challenges. So we have only 1 hour to discuss, to cover all these aspects. So I will ask to the panelists to be short in your response because we want to take advantage of all your insight and expertise. So let's start. You know that it is one of the becoming key issues to be tackled by university presidents because it became normal businesses integrated fully in the activity of university beside education and research activities. And we know that this has been initiated mainly in the United States, a model of licensing model, technology transfer model, and we are following new evolution of partnerships. And back to the Asian region, where we are today, my first question will be asking to you, is this US model is something, a model to be followed? Or are you tackling to design Asian model, Japanese, Korean, Chinese, your own context? Are you foreseeing new way of doing this partnership in your way? So I will first turn to President Kim. If you can share with us your view, please, the floor is yours.
Hariyama, and good afternoon, everybody. And yeah, it's very good questions, and it's very crucial. But maybe the POSEC is more lucky at that aspect. So I'd like to talk about POSEC model, starting with our history. POSEC was founded by POSCO Company, the fourth largest steel maker in the world. So our school was founded to contribute to our nation and humanity by conducting the research in science and engineering and applied the research result to the industry. That is our tenet. Since then, we've been in close partnership with POSCO and RIST. RIST, which is located in our campus, is a research institute specializing in future technology and commercializations. So we focus on new business area of POSCO, such as energy materials, secondary batteries, cathode materials, and maybe hydrogen production, something like that. Not only this, we are also in close partnership with other global companies like the Samsung and the SK Hynix and LG. In particular, the Industry Academia Center of Samsung Electronics Research, they funded our research about $18 million last year. So this kind of close partnership can benefit both sides in various ways. Thanks to this strong collaboration with the industry. That makes that POSEC was ranked number 12 in the world and the number 1 most innovative university in South Korea by Reuters in 2019. Nowadays, technology owned by the corporation industry is sometimes far ahead of our universities in terms of commercialization. However, I believe our role is to focus on the basic research and to continue raising innovative leaders to send off to industries. Furthermore, universities have various majors which allow different kinds of cooperative research. To do this, PostTech encourages industry, academia, professors to share the knowledge gained from private companies with other professors and allow exchange of necessary technologies. Also, we established graduate school of convergent science and technology last year to activate interdisciplinary research as well. Currently, the average research income per academic staff at PostTech is about $700,000. By funding these prominent researchers, PostTech makes a great impact in bringing the technology to market and to the public. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. And what we observe is really you are diversifying the way of collaboration and even including fundamental research. We will come back on this issue later on. Thank you very much, President Kim. And now I'm time to Mr. Hamaguchi to share with you Japanese experience.
Thank you for your question. Before answering, I'd like to thank Dr. Harayama and the organizers for the invitation to this session. In Japan, there are many companies that have been in business for more than 100 years. It is necessary to build Japanese model relationship between universities and companies over long term based on sustainability. In another word, the university side needs somehow a kind of patience. Anyway, companies and universities should take advantage of their respective strengths, and the companies can outsource basic research to universities. It is the role of university to take high-risk long-term research. It's our role. And the funding agencies should manage it properly. As an example, I'd like to introduce a new initiative by the Japanese government. Last year, they set up a $100 billion fund at JST, Fund for University. Using fund management profit, JST will promote world-class high-risk long-term R&D. It includes the development of young human resources such as doctoral students and the development of university facilities and data linkage infrastructure. This is my answer to your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hamaguchi, because you are just not only partnership between industry university, but supported by the Japanese government. So we will coming back on this question too aspect. Thank you very much. Collaboration is asking to be innovative on both sides. And in particular, not only expertise in science technology, but also in entrepreneurship, because you have to take action beyond your activity of education and researches. So entrepreneurship is becoming a key driver of collaboration. So the question will be, is entrepreneurship improving in Asian region? Because we see, again, top runner in the US. And probably some cases we are catching up. But we may have Asian way of exercising entrepreneurship. So I will ask to you your own experience related entrepreneurship. So I will turning to Vice Provost Zheng to share with us your experience.
Thank you very much. It's really a great pleasure to participate in this very distinguished panel to talk about entrepreneurship and university entrepreneurship collaboration. I have prepared a few slides I would like to share. I will be very brief, okay? Few remarks about the research university in the innovation city ecosystem. And SUSTEC, you might not have heard very much because it's very new, 10 years old university. I like to show you a few things that we are doing in terms around this topic of collaboration. So it's located in Shenzhen. It's a part of Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, Greater Bay Area. And Shenzhen has been called China's hub of innovation. So people ask me how SUSTEC have been able to thrive and develop so quickly. I always say location, location, location. So Shenzhen has been very important for development of SUSTEC. So it's a city of 22 million and with a GDP nearly more than 400 billion USD, ranked number 5 in Asian cities. And Shenzhen is an emerging, innovative international metropolis. And you can see the major industry listed here and presenting many opportunities for research universities like SUSTEC. And it has often been said that a city without the universities is not a complete, without a great university. So Shenzhen is only 40 years old, and the university even younger. Like first university in Shenzhen was established about 30 years ago. But last few years, particularly since 2005, quite a few universities have been established in Shenzhen, really to fuel the development of economic development, including Shenzhen. SUSTEC was founded 2010. Okay, so I just like a lot of opportunities for universities, entrepreneurship and research opportunities. And China just pledged to be a carbon neutral by 2030, behind several years behind the major Western countries, developed countries, including Japan and South Korea. So that really create a lot of opportunities for innovation to be more digital, efficient, and smarter and greener. So in terms of as a young university, as our model, our mission, it's actually is two things. It's a knowledge creation driven by curiosity, but very importantly, knowledge transfer we do to be a societally relevant, so driven by societal need and quality of human life. So SUSTEC as a developing university has 8 colleges and schools. Science, engineering, and life science, and business, and medicine, and design. And it's about 500 tenure or tenure-line faculty. So it's a very small university, still a very small university. And at the same time, we have over 1,000 researchers, but 500 core PI faculty. And I think as a university, even though we talk about industrial collaboration, fundamental research is still a priority. So SUSTEC has done quite well in terms of fundamental research measured by Nature Index, which is a measure of 82 leading journals. So it's SUSTEC ranked as #1 in rising star of the last decade. And also worldwide is 43, and in China it's already ranked 11. Okay. And one very highlight of SUSTEC development is a significant research grants coming from local commitment. As you can see, last year, SUSTEC received about 1 billion RMB research grants, over 60 from local industry and municipal government, the rest from national funding agencies. And we really are changing the education mode, I think, to be more relevant to industry. So we have this Capstone Design program in the school of, in the College of Engineering, involving fundamental research, but at the same time, always have outlet to apply program, apply application, and involving market and production and teamwork. And SUSTEC has a very favorable. Yeah, I'm almost done. It's almost just to show SUSTEC the technology transfer policies, including also the Shenzhen has its Act of Science and Technology Innovation. And then the joint lab with industry, really important approach to university collaboration. And the International Forum on Technology technology transfer has been very successful, bridging like over 500 local entrepreneurship enterprises with overseas partner universities. So I think just a couple examples. For example, I will talk about more later. I, as a faculty member, already leading a company for as a SUSTEC, as an environmental, as an example. I'll talk later. So, and SUSTEC really becoming an engine for the whole city by having a joint research institute throughout the city. So this is my last one. Thank you very much. So I really can explain more about some of the images concept. Thank you.
Thank you so much, President Zheng. We see the power of young university, not only for university, but for region and industry sectors. And I guess your program with the design is key for entrepreneurship too. Thank you so much. So I will ask the same question to President Kim to share your experience.
Oh, thank you again. And yeah, entrepreneurship is the most important one for the university, I think. And it is became one of the most important concepts in South Korea too. POSTEC also focus on it as well. First of all, POSTEC is running the entrepreneurship classes as an interdisciplinary minor, so that the students can learn how to respond to the diverse needs of our society. Also, we have an internship program, so-called SES, which stands for Summer Experience in Society. We extend our summer vacation, like the United States vacation period, to 3 months, so that our students can intern at more than 200 companies, including Samsung, LG, and so small companies too. As for our startup support, the Association of Post-Tech-Grown Companies, which is known as APGC Lab, most of them come from our alumni, works as a startup incubator and provide mentoring, networking help to students who want to launch their own startups. Furthermore, I'd like to introduce a unique program at POSTEC called the Industry Academic Cooperative Research Center, which I have already mentioned. This system where all professors' salary is covered by the university and the private company. And POSTEC hired some researchers as professors from the industry at the recommendation of the funding corporations. Through this system, the educations and the research need of the company are met while utilizing the human resources who can conduct high-tech research with the POSTEC's infrastructures in the long term. Also, this system leads to innovations in engineering educations. As the professor's industry experience is directly reflected in the course, we can educate readers who can actually affect things on site. For example, in case of the LG display, Professor Kim Uk-sung from the LG display has opened various lectures on electronics and display engineering. Thanks to this kind of effort, there have been more than 200 startups launched by members of the POSTEC, such as Genexin and the Cafe24, which is a pretty big company in Korea. Today, Genexin, one of the representative bio companies, is worth more than $500 million. As we can see, developing the student entrepreneurship spirit helps the nature successful venture companies. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing with us your experience. And I think you have already in place all the system structure mobilizing not only industry, but alumni and associated with the students and providing experience-based entrepreneurship education. Fabulous. Thank you so much for your view. Until now, we have been discussing looking after partnership from the university point of view, but now we are moving to the opposite side, from the industry sector's point of view. So how does industry succeed in the partnering with universities? And we have only one person representing industry sector today. I'm sorry that you are alone. But now I'm turning to Mr. Williamson to share with us your experiences, your view, please.
Hello, and
Hello.
greetings from Shenzhen. So I'm really pleased and honoured to be part of this panel. As you mentioned, I'm representing industry, all industry, but actually I'll just try and do it from Huawei's point of view. So I think there are two main issues which I think this audience is really well versed, will well understand in terms of the context of how things have changed in the last few decades. If you think back, corporate research was really epitomized by the likes of Bell Labs. A lot of research and development happened in very large but insular, dedicated teams. And I think, so the second big change has really been how things have really moved on. And now we talk much more about global innovation networks. And that kind of suggests there's a role for everybody. It's become much more fragmented, but much more specialized, much more powerful as a research network. And Huawei for many years has been tapping into the success of those global innovation networks. So I think that's a key takeaway, and that's how we work now. Alongside that, we have to recognize as well how much is being invested by the private sector. We've seen in some countries a kind of a shortfall. This is being addressed now, perhaps in the United States, but the government essentially pulled away from a lot of kind of support to research and development. A lot of that has been plugged by the corporate sector. And if you look, for example, at the top 10 EU industry R&D scoreboard, for example, you can see it's really dominated now by the technology companies. Huawei's proud to be number 3 on that list, investing around $20 billion US just last year in research and development. And we dedicate hundreds of millions of dollars of that to university research. But look, very quickly, what I want to say is that, we've thought about this. Our key learnings about what we think makes successful collaboration is, first of all, from our side, we need to be inspired. We track cutting edge research all around the world. We want to see the vision thing. We want to know what the world will look like in the future, what's feasible, what's practical, what can be explored. The second one is that we really want the partner to be aligned with us and with the same scientific and technological interests. We want the partnership to be one that we can see where each side can bring unique capabilities. And that kind of rolls over into the third area, which is really about, it has to be a collaboration though. And what we really see from our side is that we can provide direction to university research teams. We understand, we have deep insights into the ICT sector. So we can help them on that journey. And perhaps the best thing that companies can do is help those types of research teams go through the valley of death of development. Fourth, that we've seen as a really successful way of collaboration is that we just provide grants and funding for research. We don't really ask for anything in return. It can be the best strategy. I think this is actually being researched recently. It's best to fund lots of different ideas rather than concentrating on a few, because it can be through serendipity that great results happen. Finally, that being said, though, if we really see a promising technology, then we will work very closely with the partner. But before anything comes from the research team, we will have full agreement and alignment about potential revenues that will be earned. Very often, the patents, the IP rests with the university team. Now, I've got a really good example of where we thought this worked really well. It's a local example. It's a university-run company in Japan that made a medical glue that is also really excellent at transmitting optical and electrical signals. So this really inspired one of our research and development teams. We started working with that research team provided them with the industrial demand, helped them scale up their capabilities to testing and improvement to the most rigorous of industry standards. And now that glue is used frequently on our printed circuit board technology. So by that collaboration, by that talking, we created a whole new market essentially for that research team. And we continue to develop new ways of providing glue for the industry and for printed circuit boards more generally.
Thank you so much. Because we see partnership between university and industry in a very narrow way, tech transfer or something like that. But now, how you explain to us is that we are also interested in fundamental researches and also to be inspired, but at the same time, giving to them new direction for research. So many channels and to share the benefits mutually. So it's really interesting to have your experience. And now I'm turning to Mr. Hamaguchi-san, because you are heading a funding agency in Japanese government, and you see both sides, university people and the industry people. So what is your perception if the industry demand is changing or still at the level of tech transfer? What is your view on that? Please, Jochen.
I would say, unfortunately, in Japan, we still have some gap between universities and industries. But I believe successful academia-industry relationships requires continuous mutual benefit with local communities. This is one point I would like to emphasize. Universities can act as a local basis at the heart of unique innovation ecosystems rooted in the regional characteristics. They can contribute to the autonomous and sustainable development of local communities by fostering local production for local consumption industries and also local talents. JST is creating these type of innovation centers, mainly at universities, to promote collaboration among industry, academia, and local stakeholders for regional development, all under one roof. This initiative is called Center of Innovation Program. We spent already 8 years, and we are still on the way to improve our culture and the system and style of innovation. And I would say, step by step, we are on the way to success. For example, we support the Center of Healthy Aging Innovation at Hirosaki University. It's a small university north of Japan. The research team analyzed big data of medical examinations obtained from the local people of Aomori Prefecture. The reason why is this area has a shortest life length. So they thought their weakness can be their strength. They developed disease preventive methods, including rising health literacy of the people, and the life expectancy has improved in Aomori. We already have a clear result. And in addition, there are more than 60 partners from industry and academia, and they are utilizing health big data to promote health life. This data from Hirosaki University. Their mutual support from the community and the support of the community is ensuring their success. We are kind of Japanese style innovation. We want to promote step by step. And based on local success, we want to expand this method as a Japan, as all Japan system. And this is a lesson we're now trying. And as a funding agency, we have some experience now, and we should deepen this success. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much for adding a new dimension, not only university, industry, but local community. And it could be integrated within this partnership and providing more value in the social terms. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences. Now I'm turning again to Mr. Williamson, because you mentioned that you are interested in also in funding basic research. It's quite difficult to ordinary person to understand why for-profit company is funding for university, not only for the benefits of the company, but for funding basic research. Could you explain to us more about the rationale behind and why you are doing this?
Yes, thank you. Well, I kind of touched upon this earlier, and I think this is a shift that is occurring in several industries, certainly in the technology sector, the ICT sector. Now, whereas before we called it essentially a lot of what the research we did, the Huawei Innovation Research Program, it was all under the umbrella of what we called Innovation 1.0. And that's really where we were trying to undertake research and development that really met customer needs or customer problems. We've shifted more in the last couple of years to what we call Innovation 2.0. And quickly, what I mean by that is that we are now much more interested in funding basic research. It doesn't always have to be applicative kind of products and services. Now, the reasons why we're doing that is because actually a lot of the technologies that we're familiar with in the ICT sector really came about theoretically decades ago. We are facing real problems in terms of future development. So, you know, we're all familiar with Moore's law. Moore's law is hitting real kind of issues and barriers now. It's becoming much harder to innovate at the nano scale, but also Shannon's theorem. We're running against, you know, problems with just with communication. So for us as a company, we are inspired and we see that to make major breakthroughs in the sector, we have to be much better at funding basic research. It helps us because it helps us understand some of the more of the fundamentals of the science that lies behind our future technologies. But we also think we can provide real support, real help, because that type of research is often a very long and arduous journey. You're not really sure where you're going to end up and whether there's something that comes at the end of it. But you know, the corporate sector can be very good at that kind of risk mitigation exercise. It can really assist in terms of, you know, best ways to invest, most efficient ways of trying to guarantee return on investment. So, you know, we are now shifting, and something like 20% of our total research and development budget is now shifting to areas of basic research. And there's several programs that we have in place that goes with that. A good example is our collaboration with Manchester University on graphene, for example. We've been supporting the team there since 2015. We all know that graphene is a wonder material and could have unbelievable commercial applications, but to get there is going to take a lot of kind of time, investment and research. So that's where we're kind of headed. There is a real vested interest, we feel, for industry to do that, but you have to have a very kind of long-term investment horizon as a company to really undertake that pivot.
Thank you so much. We understand much better now for your longer view. Till now, we have been looking after from university perspective, industry perspective. Now, the question is how to make this matching. So you have to find good partner in order to take advantage of this partnership. And how are you choosing your partner? It could be a secret for you. And also, what could be the topics? Which type of research activities are you partnering with industry? So I'm turning to President Saito to share with us your strategy, your experiences on this partnering. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Harayama. And it is very great honor to talk about our experience to you. And also on behalf of host of the university, I would like to thank you very much to all of the panelists for your kind participation. Industry academia collaboration is an important issue that we value and enjoy. I would be happy if I could speak of something helpful to you from my experiences. As a president, I involved in the organization management of the university. Also, I am a professor of rehabilitation medicine, so I engage in research to develop activity, related products of several companies. So to speak, I live as a playing manager. Therefore, today, I would like to state the feasibility of industry academia collaboration from these two perspectives. Firstly, I would like to speak as a university organizer. Our university is a medium-sized private medical university that has been for a little over 50 years. Aichi Prefecture, where our university locates, is the industrial center of Japan and has extremely favorable geographical conditions for the collaboration. There are many companies from small size and to large companies. So of course, there is no shortage of encounters. In today's longevity society in Japan, the development of medical and welfare artifacts is strongly demanded by the society, and companies realize that well. Therefore, we have no shortage of partnership. However, cooperation itself is just a means to an end, not an end itself. The goal is to evolve the collaboration to a structure that produces excellent products and, if possible, continue to produce more advanced outcomes. Of course, in reality, collaboration will not start with the encounter between the two. So how to create opportunity to encounters is a management issue for the university. We are focusing on 3 points. One is public relations. In general, the reputation of the university changes more slowly than the profit-making enterprise. Therefore, if you leave it to the situation, there will be a significant time lag between the actual situation and the reputation. The reputation will be delayed by several years. As a result, opportunities are lost in evolving universities. Thus, to close the time gap, public relation is essential. It is a pity that we were still not successful in this regard, but the situation is becoming better, in my opinion. We believe that TH's evaluation is optimal as a concrete object for public relations because a comprehensive evaluation from third party is explicitly shown. The second is the development of the collaboration support system. It is a structure to support researchers and companies unfamiliar with academic research and development by supporting the establishment of research organizations and supporting ethics, patents, and funding applications. From a figure point of view, the role of the correlation supporting organization is like an enzyme that stabilizes encounter and binding between the two parties. Over the last few years, we have increased the size of our collaboration support system by more than 300% on a staff basis. I think that the results have led to the acquisition of research funds, including industry academia collaboration and the increase in joint research. The third, in the enhancement of researchers and research groups on the university side. Since it is the content of the university, without this point, we cannot talk about the collaboration. The trouble here is the well-known fact that it is not so difficult to find a good person now, but it is difficult to predict whether one will become a good researcher or not in the future. It is a university's main business to hire researchers, and private universities can be more flexible than national or public universities in this regard. Taking this advantage, we conduct, manage, and operations to recruit talented human resources in a short time. In advancing medicine and medical care, new areas are being created one after another, and a part of it develops greatly and blooms. Rehabilitation medicine, which is my specialty, is just such a new field, and I am proud to be at the top of Japan and Asia in this regard. In terms of international collaboration, which is generally a weak point of Japan, we are constantly engaged in active exchanges with many research facilities in Europe, the United States, and as well as Asia. Next, I will touch on the point of industry academia collaboration from the perspective of the researchers involved. At Fujita Health University, the collaboration is active in orthodox medical researches such as cancer, genome, surgical treatment, etc. Still, as I mentioned earlier, my specialty is rehabilitation medicine, and it would be easier to understand if I talk about my own experience. So please forgive me. Rehabilitation medicine is a medicine that reconstructs a person's life or activity. Therefore, industry academia collaboration is indispensable to create artificial objects related to daily life. Here are some tips on how to identify an encounter from a number of encounters. The first filter is the knowledge and enthusiasm of the person in charge. In most cases, the first person you meet is the person in charge at the company. In the case of Japan, their decision-making power is not strong. It has been repeatedly pointed out this is a weakness of Japanese companies. Therefore, it can be said that basic knowledge and enthusiasm of the person in charge is critical. I don't think that person without them can pursue their boss as a scene of difficulty in the collaboration process that are surely to come. With the first filter, the rate at which the encounters ends exceeds 80%. This filter is crucial to save researchers' time. The next filter is the health of the company. A good partner is a company that is doing well in its core business, but is not satisfied with it and has a healthy spirit of looking ahead. After clearing these two filters, we will check from our specialty whether the artificial object is actually what we eagerly want to realize and can be established as a business model to some extent. What makes me most happy about the collaboration is the reward of having multiple motivated professionals with 100% effort to make the artificial objects I want to create. Not only can you meet diverse people from different perspectives, but you can also come up with new ideas by coming into contact with different cultures. It is not uncommon for a work to turn out completely different from the prototype you initially imagined. It's a pleasure that stimulates curiosity. Sharing my experience, over the past 20 years, I have collaborated with more than 100 companies and produced more than 30 commercially available works. They include robots, activity support equipments, modified foods, treatment devices, informative systems, etc. Among them, some have been economically successful and are being handled not only domestically, but also overseas. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. President Saito. Sharing with your own experience, not only from university, but personal experiences. And that we see the very challenges, but also reward for yourself and for the society. Thank you very much. I'm turning to Vice President Provost Zheng to share with us your own view about how to find your partner within the industry.
Yeah, I think I've been listening on the panelists very patiently. I think it's really very inspiring, very good, very helpful. And I think SUSTEC has kind of found a fairly right mixture of this different ingredient. I think for the first priority mission for any university must be fundamental research. At the same time, we have to stay societally relevant. So I have several programs quite interesting. For example, in Shenzhen government, they provide funding. Half of go to a support fundamental research, and the other half is to help faculty, the PI, to launch a company. So in my case, like several years ago, I received this grant. It's very helpful, and then I set up, I put together a team. As one way we're doing research, at the same time we develop a fairly successful company called SUSTEC Environmental, and then solving major environmental pollution issues. Shenzhen has very good air quality, as probably ranked and the best in China, one of the best. But the water is quite polluted, water in the streams, rivers. And then 5 years ago, the company actually started developing a monitoring system, developing water pollution control, and also the software for simulating the pollution migration and warning and source tracing and so on. So the Shenzhen government put in like 15 million, and then they have take up certain shares. And then after 5 years, we return the investment to the Shenzhen government. And so, and then some company will work with even other companies to go to become a bigger companies. So that's I think it's an example of trying to combine fundamental research with very practical problem solving, and that's actually in the motto of SUSTEC is research, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So that's I'm just one of the personal example actually that how I have been able to combine a very fundamental research with practical problem solving. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your experience, sharing with us your experiences. And now I tried to pick up some questions from the audience because we didn't talk much about education. And one of the audience asked us, how important do you see education at university in terms of people knowledge transfer, moving from academia to industry? Who wish to, because partnership between university industry is not just at a level of research activities, but also through education. It has been described with entrepreneurship education. Do you see who want to react to the question? Yes.
Yeah, I can very quickly. One program I mentioned in my introduction is this Capstone Design. So we have a class, like we have like 100 students involved, enrolled in this class. But like each team, maybe 3 of them together, have form of a team, and then they have to go to a company, find a real project, and then going during the course of the semester, they work together with the faculty supervisor and also the company supervisor. And in the end, at the end of the semester, they present that what they found, what they developed, some technology, some research implications, and then some product. So I think that they actually learn something really useful and hands-on experience, and then some product, if some product have good potential and they can be further developed into enhanced. So this is an example that how you go from a classroom and combine with the company and the industrial need. So that's just one example. It's very popular.
Thank you. I will just pick up another question. How should universities do to gain confidence and get funding from industry? Any of you want to react? It could be from industry sector, from the president of universities. Because partnership should be based on the confidence. And how to construct this confidence? It is not so easy. Yeah, please, President Kim.
It's a pretty good question, but not easy questions. Always the university, think about that, how we can get the confidence from the industry. I think it takes a pretty long time. So first of all, we should keep our confidence by ourselves and share that ideas and the knowledge with companies pretty long time, I think. And the second one is that communications, for my experience. Actually, we got some projects and then we produce the result and give the result. That's it. That's a very bad experience. If we can, we try to get some touch with them every month or every 2 weeks and discuss everything. Then next, and level up the competence level for each other, I think. So, and finally, the confidence comes from our students. How we can make and train and educate students for that period. And usually some of our students finally go to that company and their students give them the real good confidence level, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, it is true education and the people, the base of confidence. Thank you very much. So I'm confident. I just look at my watch and we have just 5 minutes remaining to ask. Probably to make last round with you, to sum up, I will ask you what are the environments or cultural factors that university leaders have to consider when creating strategy to succeed in partnership between university and industry. So we are in Asia today. Do you see any particular factor we have to take account of this cultural, geographical dimension? And that's be the last turn. So may I ask to President Saito to just to say the last word and just short response. Have a time for each of them, just 1-2 minutes, please.
I thank you very much for mentioning about me and about the culture or the atmosphere about the collaboration between two parties perhaps depend on the diversity issue. Because the evolution makes many animals, many species, not only one strongest one. So we should live mutually, and diversity pro issue is the most important thinking about. So we can collaborate with companies because culture is different. So we know that with these companies facing, it is a very, very nice experience, of course, for our curiosity issue or our fascinating emotion. So like that collaboration is a fruitful collaboration, I think. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. The key is diversity. And I'm turning to Mr. Williamson to have your view.
Yes, very quickly. So I think, the first steps are often the hardest. So as a company, we offer lots of channels and reach out programs. Probably the best one is the Huawei Innovation Research Program. We were talking a bit earlier about the education. That actually doesn't go to the research companies in universities. It goes down to PhD level. We're very happy to fund interesting research. There's some great examples of how we've brought on doctoral research. Then there's a kind of links that are built between the company and the university. So that's a great channel. Also, we run lots of competitions through our ICT Academy, and other companies are similar. We offer programs. It's in our interest for the future workforce to get really digitally aware, digitally capable. So there are lots of other reach out programs that we do that can inspire university teams and to build confidence with universities to work with industry. So I'll conclude
Thank
there.
you. Yeah, wonderful. Mr. Hamaguchi, could you just say a few words? 1 minute.
Okay, just a few words. I think inclusiveness is most important point. We must recognize diverse values and approach to succeed. We need young people and gender equality. I think gender equality is the most important issues in Asian countries like Japan. We are not equal yet. I would like to emphasize this inclusiveness for Asian countries, Japanese universities. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you for your last word about gender issues and inclusiveness, including young people. And now I'm turning to President Kim.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think the young guys in Asia is already globalized. I feel that the university and some peoples should have more tolerance for the young peoples and just let them do that for themselves. That's my ideas. Thank you.
Thank you. Tolerance to young people and be global. And the last word from Vice President Zhang.
Yeah, thank you. I think we just need to accept that the change is inevitable. So we want to be adaptive. So the university from educational mode to the attitude toward the entrepreneurship and the technology transfer. So we have to, recognize the change, embrace the change.
Thank you so much. And we should be adaptive and promoting change and not just deceiving change, but advocating for change. Thank you to all of you. This was so inspiring and very rich cases from you. And I think we don't need to sum up because we gain a lot from you. Thank you so much. And I've been closing this session.